So to investigate further the idea of what happens when an object slides off a slope, I have used this format of investigating with the students. But to give it a little bit more drama, I call it a murder investigation. So the question now is, who got murdered? And of course, we have to find out uh, why the person got murdered and who was responsible. Okay, so you people use the knowledge that you have picked up over the
Or sir, you can
months,
say,
and
sir, or you can say the murder weapon is missing. What is the murder weapon?
yeah, we
Clued.
have to figure that out, what the weapon is, who the person is, and what were the circumstances. So the sort of, I'll give you the background. So I am the sort of principal investigator, and you are all my detectives. So we are all working together as a team, and we all have this responsibility of figuring out this high profile murder investigation. So what happened? Okay, so I'll give you the facts of the case. So listen carefully now. Okay, it so happened that the person, first of all, I have to tell you who the person is who got who got murdered. So the deceased, the person who got killed, was our beloved mystery box. Okay, MYSTERY or TRY? TERY.
Wait, mystery box doesn't have any friction and stuff, no?
Yeah, so we have to ask these kinds of questions exactly to
Let's
figure
call
out like
Mr. Boxy.
what is mystery box.
Mr. Boxy.
Mr. Boxy.
That sounds weird.
Him.
And how did he
I
get
don't know.
murdered? How did he get murdered? Is he was just standing innocently on a slope. Okay.
Inclined plane. Okay.
On an inclined plane, and he slid down this inclined plane. It was quite clear that he was well-footed before he started sliding, and then the next thing we knew, he went down this inclined plane and he crashed to his death.
But then mystery box doesn't have any friction, right? So anyway.
Yeah, so no. So you have to ask that question. So in this case, the fact that mystery box was standing before on that slope suggests that mystery box did have friction with this surface. Okay, so there was some friction at play over here.
Yep.
Okay, and somehow, as we can understand from our knowledge of physics, that friction got overcome and he slid to his death. So our question is, who is the murderer, and how do we gather sufficient evidence to conclusively prove beyond any reasonable doubt that that person is the one, that factor is the one that caused the mystery box to die.
I have a question about the investigation.
One moment, I'm the principal investigator, so you will have to wait for me to finish what I'm saying before you speak. There's insubordination otherwise. Okay, we are part of an investigative agency. So detective, show some respect.
Sorry, sir.
I may have answered, I may be able to sort of state some of the things that you come up as questions. So let me finish. So it may be, of course, that the person who ended up causing the death may have done it inadvertently. That's not our problem. We are an investigative agency and we have to say who was the reason, how it happened. Whether that person is therefore guilty of what they call as being deliberate manslaughter, or it was just an accident that happened and the person cannot really be convicted, all that is part of the court's business. We are not the court. That's what I'm trying to clearly say. We are an investigative agency. We have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that this is the person who could have, should have, would have been the reason for the death of the mystery box. So first thing is that we have to populate our list of suspects. Okay, we have to put together a list of people who are suspects, and the starting point of the investigation is everybody is a suspect. Okay, we can't rule out. So what we are doing is we are going to take each one of these persons into consideration, and we are going to rule out the ones who could not have done it. So that is one negative approach that is usually taken up in such investigations. Okay, so they ask, for example, they call somebody and they ask, where were you at the time of the murder? If they say, well,
Questioning.
I was sitting on a flight and traveling between, Calcutta and Bombay, then you look at the flight manifest, look at his tickets, and you say that, yeah, around the time that the murder took place, the person was sitting in a flight. So then you rule out that person.
Possibility of,
That
yeah.
person could not have possibly been in two places at the same time. So therefore, that person is not a suspect anymore. But until and unless we do that, we should leave out nobody. And what tools we have at our disposal is that once we recognize the suspects, we can call them, whoever they are, however big they are, we can call them for a preliminary investigation. So we can question them. Okay, and we assume that they are going to give the correct answer, but they could be lying as well. So our task is to then sort of figure out whether they are lying or they are telling the truth. So this is the picture that I am painting. Now, if there are any other questions that you might want to ask, we can put together those things. So basically, at the end of this process, we should have a list of suspects. And this investigation may take 2 classes. Okay, so I'm warning you about that also.
So you're not giving us any additional information, like
you can ask for any additional information. If it is possible for us to get our hands on it, we will do it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the mystery box was just standing on this thing, and it just started sliding.
It just started sliding.
So it began with rest, right?
It was at rest, correct? Absolutely.
And then
right.
it started. Right?
So it's see, one of the things, and the thing is that it could also be a suicide, right? As some of you might have been thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to kind of figure out. It may be that the person committed suicide, and if it did, then we have to the box committed suicide. We have to sort of rule out that also. But yes, the box was just standing there. I don't know, it was admiring a sunset or something like that. And the next thing, it was sliding down and it died.
Maybe it was admiring the ground and then it got too close.
Sir, I have a question.
Got too close. Yes.
Like, I have 2 questions. First one, what was the inclined plane made up of?
The inclined plane was a surface made up of asphalt, tar.
Okay.
Okay.
Basically road, right?
Yeah, it was just a road.
And where did this happen?
Where or when?
Where?
It happened on that inclined plane, wherever it is. The dead body of.
So what was the atmosphere around?
Basically,
the dead
laid
body
down
was found over here, so we know that it was there.
No.
The atmosphere was late evening, and it was a clear day. The temperature was something around 20-21 degrees Celsius.
Not very humid.
Sure.
It was not raining, and the humidity was not a factor that affected. Yes, next.
Yeah, so did it rain?
No, it did not rain. That's why I
have something to say.
So one moment before you go shooting off. Look, remember, you're part of an investigative team. You're professionals. Okay. One of the most important things is to be able to hear what other people are saying carefully. Okay. Don't ask questions again and again. Don't repeat your, don't make me repeat the points again. I'll be quite cross with you as an principal investigator. We are running out of time on this.
I agree.
Come on, quick, shoot. Next.
Kailash.
Yeah, sir. Oh, Kailash.
Dodo.
Okay, yeah. So this might be too quick to have a suspect, but since you said there's friction, there should be a force opposing friction, which should be pushing the box downwards, and it might be possible that the force got too much and then the box fell and basically murdered the
So very good. We are coming down to it. So we are saying that since there was friction, and we can be quite sure about that there was friction, we have to assume that there was some force that was acting in the opposite direction, okay, which was presumably larger than friction, and that friction is this force over here. That is our prime suspect, okay. But the problem is we don't know who this force is. Right, it's an unknown quantity. There was some force. Okay.
Sir, I have another.
One moment. Let me finish this. So we know that there is a force of friction that is acting between the two surfaces, because we determined that the road was made of tar and the box was standing before it at rest. So there must have been friction. Now there was a force opposite to friction, obviously, because that force is the one that caused the object to slide. And okay, so that gives us one possible suspect. position of the suspect, but we don't know anything more. Next.
Sir, so since you said pehle
Hmm.
that the box was at rest in the beginning and then it started
Yeah.
sliding down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that there's some external, as there's this force, I believe there's another external force which caused it to move in the first place.
Yeah, so that's what this, how is this force different from that external force that you're talking about? Or are you saying, I'm giving you the characteristics of this force that caused this thing? First thing is opposed friction. And the second factor is that you're saying that it is external.
No, that's not exactly what I meant.
Yeah, but you said that there is an external force that caused the object to slide in the first place. Or are you saying there could have been another external force that caused
another external force?
Yes,
Because,
accomplices are always possible.
yeah.
Okay, so you'll say F
Alibi.
plus X. We don't know. There is a force, maybe there is another force X.
Yeah.
Somebody helping a henchman.
Put it under suspect, no?
Okay.
Maybe an alibi.
So yeah, but look, you put a F under suspect over here, but who are you going to call and investigate? What line of questioning do you have for F? So you can
So
put
that's what we have to investigate further. We have to investigate.
Yeah, no, but the suspect list you can populate with, you can just put over here any person on the planet, or you can say any force on the planet.
There's
What's the point? What are you going to do about that?
investigate.
You have
Right.
to
So when
cross
you
out
put
the
somebody-
ones who, yeah.
You have to put somebody specific on the suspect list and then proceed to investigate that person. Okay, so unless you are able to do that, it doesn't make any sense. So who do you have? Come on, we haven't
But I
put a
have
single
something to
suspect
say.
on the list.
Can I
Sir,
say?
Ishan has raised his hand.
Yes, go ahead, speak. Don't.
Yeah, so-
not a time
so,
for
sir.
niceties.
So basically, we know that the box, the mystery box, was not moving at first. So
Yeah.
therefore, it was in equilibrium, right? And we know that the friction which is applied on the object before it starts moving is called static friction.
Yes.
So we know that static friction was greater than the force applied. So
No, equal.
yeah, equal. Sorry,
Yeah.
equal.
So,
So therefore, the force F could not have done anything on its own. It must have a friend X.
okay, there is we explored that henchman sort of theory. Okay, but I don't have any suspects yet.
Yeah. So I suspect that it could be
spelled
gravity.
suspect wrong. Very good. Now you are talking. Why do you say gravity is there?
Because we observe these kind of things everywhere. Like, so this is like gravity is acting downwards, but then over here the downward force is lesser than that's gravity.
Okay, so gravity is always there. It's pulling in a downward direction. So therefore, even if not as a suspect, as somebody we should investigate, we can include gravity. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
A possible suspect.
A possible suspect. Okay, gravity is a possible suspect. But I'll tell you something about gravity. Principal investigator, I know a little bit more. Gravity is a big shot. Okay. Why? Because gravity is there everywhere. It acts on every object. So it's always a little bit risky calling these big shots in for questioning because they don't have the time. They have a lot of work to do, etc., etc. And we have to be very careful about what we are going to ask gravity. Okay. So keep that in mind. As
And
of
I think
now,
we shouldn't call gravity as of now. We should call its friend the X force first, which I
we
suspect
don't
is
know
the
who's
wind.
the X. That's the whole problem,
That's
right?
the-
If
Oh.
we are going to
X is
say
X.
What
X,
about the weight?
yeah, if we say X, please come.
I
Who's
think
going
X
to
is the
come?
wind, sir.
No, there is no wind factor affecting over here.
Sir, I have a suspect.
Wait. There was somebody else who said something else.
Dodo.
Yeah, sir. What about mg? So it's pulling the weight of the object, mg. It's pulling it downwards, and it's not exactly gravity. So we have, like, we're getting closer to the final thing, which is mass and gravity. So they
Okay.
might have something to do.
So yeah, but basically that's what gravity does, right? Gravity pulls all masses towards the center of the earth. So if we call gravity, basically we are investigating the
Sir,
mg angle.
what if we
Yeah,
call
and one more.
mass?
Okay.
What if we call mass?
No,
And
mass,
like,
mass is a property of the object. That means you want to
what
call
if
it
we?
dead body for
Sir,
investigation.
Oh,
sir,
okay.
if we call
So I have
mass,
one more
then
thing.
it's possibly suicide.
Order, please. Order. Investigative agency. You're all officers of the law. Behave yourselves.
Sorry.
Next.
Yeah, I had one more thing to say.
Quick.
Yeah, so since this thing, there should be support force also, right? Since it's like
Ah.
it's resting on the thing.
Of course, yes. So this is the way to
Yeah.
proceed. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to look at all the different factors that were present over there. We don't have suspects in the sense we know something for sure, but we can always call people who were there at the scene of the crime. Okay, so gravity definitely was at the scene of the crime. Big shot, we have to be very careful in the investigation, but support force or normal reaction force definitely would have been there. Oops, I put support.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay, support force.
Sir, I have a question.
Quick, is that
What?
question going to lead to a suspect being put on the list because I'm running out of
Um,
time? Quick.
No, it's this. It's the factors thing.
Yeah.
What material was the box made of?
It's a
Box
mystery box.
was made up of wood, rough wood.
Okay.
See, I'm telling you, as principal investigator, I'll put it to you. The surface of the two objects does not matter. Why? Because there was enough friction to hold it over there at one point of time. And then something happened and that friction was overcome. So nothing to talk about over there. We discussed change in weather conditions and so on. No rain, no change in great change in temperature. So the friction couldn't have changed. Okay, so let's just drop that angle about the materials. Fine.
Sir, I have a suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, I think it's acceleration. Sir, because like at a point the mystery box was still and an object can't move without acceleration. So something must have caused the acceleration.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
We
So
can ask the
Sir,
acceleration.
it's also possible.
acceleration is something that happened. So we can call acceleration also to answer.
Sir, I have a few
Sir,
things
a
to
lot
say.
of people have raised their hands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think-
Shiv, then Hia.
Yeah, please.
Shiv.
Yeah, you manage that part of it.
Yeah, so sir, I have a question and like a few suspects. So first, that
Go ahead.
was the box like intentionally going to slide, or was it?
It was not suicide. What's wrong with you, detective? Going off on your suicide angle.
No, it
There's
could
no intention.
slide, right? But
He was
while
just looking at
sliding,
the
it
sunset
could
for
die.
God's sake. He's not going. He didn't want to kill himself. Fine.
Okay. One more thing.
Quick.
That we haven't done this, but momentum is a suspect.
No, we are not talking about things that we are completely unaware of. You can't call it an act of.
No animals.
Yeah, no.
Bring animals into the picture.
Hia had something to
Okay,
say.
forget about it now. Now let's just call somebody because we have 3 people we can inquire with now.
Sir, it
So
can be
let's-
friction also. For some reason, friction was reduced, and that's why
Very
that
good,
was overcome.
very good. So friction didn't reduce because we know that there is a static friction, maximum value of static friction that was there. What somebody said earlier is correct. The force that is pulling it downward somehow overcame.
Yeah, somehow. But there was a factor involved that.
But since friction was there in the scene, we can always call friction and inquire with it. Makes
Yeah,
sense?
friction can always answer us.
Yeah. So very good. We've got 4 suspects. So now let us put them in an order of who we should inquire first.
Sir, we should not inquire gravity because it's a.
No, we should, but the thing is we have to be very careful about what we are going to ask gravity. Gravity doesn't have time.
Let's start with.
So we can't, and gravity is like super intelligent because it's a very powerful.
Even friction is a big shot.
Let's ask.
No, we might get
It's okay.
another
Friction
suspect
is a
if we
best,
hear
like
Hia.
low
Friction,
pace.
it's okay, but please let us think about who to call, what to ask.
Okay.
Logically, who should we call first?
Support force.
We should call support force. Okay.
Acceleration
Yeah.
or support force, one
Yeah.
of them.
Let's call support force. But now you have to tell me what are you going to ask support force. What is the line of questioning?
Did you give enough support?
Did you
Uh,
not catch the box when it fell?
no, invalid. Think about
It's
the
a
box
little
you know
personal.
already. Listen, you don't have to ask questions that are not going to lead anywhere. Okay, even in court.
What caused you to lose your grip on the box?
Yeah.
How do you know it was
Sorry.
support force that was gripping the surface? Didn't you study your physics?
You can
Oh yeah,
ask
I was
in which
friction. So
direction.
there are multiple things.
First, could you draw arrows for like the support force, the weight, so that
Support
Which
force.
direction were you
Just
acting?
Ah, precisely. Direction of action.
Yep.
direction.
You can't. It's a vector.
Sir, was it,
Yeah,
Did you
won't
it's a
the
specify?
vector, so
support
you can
force
ask
be,
direction of
Okay,
action.
whatever.
Okay, come on,
sir,
guys, put your heads
sir, won't
together.
the support force be perpendicular to the surface?
What?
So, sir, won't the support force or the normal reaction force be perpendicular to the surface?
Yeah, we know that, but we can always ask that to
Let's ask. No,
the
we're not
support force.
Yeah,
sure.
it's got confusing.
Ah, exactly. Just verifying what we want to know. Okay.
Sir, I have
Direction
something
of
I want to
action we need to
say.
know. Yes. Go.
Suppose or like support force was acting like on the opposite side of inclined plate. Suppose like the
Correct. Go ahead. Go
down
ahead.
part is like on the inclined plate and the up part is on the above the inclined plate.
Yeah.
So the support force will be up and gravity will be pulling it down and helping it to be helping the box.
Yeah, so that is what, see, if we inquire support force, then we get some questions that we can ask gravity. You're saying that gravity is going to act opposite to the direction of the support force, so we can call gravity and we can ask in which direction were you acting. So remember, these are forces that we are talking about. Other than acceleration, gravity, support force, and friction, all three are forces. So forces are vectors, so we can ask all of them in which direction were you acting. Okay.
Sir,
And I think traditionally the investigation should first ask, were you even there at the scene of the crime?
exactly.
Just to figure out that whether they were present over there or not. If they say, well, I
Yeah.
wasn't present, then you can take a different line of questioning. So we can ask support force, what is the direction of action of force? Is there anything else we can ask it?
Yeah,
Direction
so
of
what
action.
you just said, were you in the action? One of them.
Yeah, were you at the scene of the crime? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Then
Like,
anything else? Come on, quick.
so this is a trick question. Like we know what it is, but like magnitude.
Okay, magnitude. Very good. I think
Magnitude?
magnitude.
how many
Vector.
newtons will it apply?
Oh.
We know it's opposite because it's equilibrium, but
Yeah,
let's see
yeah.
what it answers.
What is
I think that's sufficient for the time being. I'm under heavy pressure from my seniors to solve this crime. We better have something to show for our efforts. So let's call support force, and
Stand.
who's going to be the person who is going to be asking the questions. By the way, what happens is when we call one of these factors in, I take the role of that particular force.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then I will be
Okay.
answering the questions. So that means I can't ask myself the questions. So the principal investigator is not doing the asking. One of you will have to do the asking. Volunteers, quick.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Who's that?
I'll do friction.
I
Sir,
don't
two
mind.
people, okay. Sir, Prakriti and Anadya volunteer.
Prakriti and
Anadya.
Anadya.
There are three
Anadya. It's okay.
questions.
We can have two investigators asking questions. That's all right. Between the two of you, you work out who's going to ask what.
There
No
are three
confusion.
questions. Okay.
I'll ask one question, you can ask.
Okay, so you have to
I
start
can't
with,
say anything.
were you present? Why do I keep making spelling mistakes? Okay. Were you
Sir,
present? What was the direction of action and what is the magnitude? Okay, and I'm going to play the role of support force in answering those questions. All right.
Kriti, I'll ask the direction, okay?
So
Okay,
forget
then I
every
ask, were you present in the magnitude?
Please do not present a confused picture. Okay, to our suspects, we cannot act as if we are confused.
The
you
higher
have
up
to kind of
will punish us.
Prakriti, you'll have to
punish
ask
us.
first because
You're not going
first
to
thing
get
we need to
anywhere.
know is
Were you
if it
present?
was present.
Yeah,
So you
okay.
ask first, then I'll ask direction if it was present. Okay.
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 All right. So yes, we have called support force in for investigation, and I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay. So, you can't lie here, you get it? Now tell me, were you present at the scene when this happened? Were you there?
Uh, yeah, but okay. Yes, I was. You know who I am, right?
Yeah, support force.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
support.
So, what direction were you acting in when the crime happened?
Haven't you people studied any physics? I always act
Answer the
in a
question.
direction. Well, yes, I am answering the question. Support force always acts in a direction which is perpendicular to which the surface is. I've answered your question.
Okay, so how many newtons were you applying in that direction? You must know that, right?
No, not necessarily. All I know is that the amount of force that I was applying in that direction was in opposition to some other force that was acting in the opposite direction to me. So I am a response force. All right. So whatever force is acting in the downward direction towards the slope, I apply an equal and opposite force in the other direction. So if you people want, I can show you that I act in this direction. And support force is just my common name. My formal name actually is the normal reaction force. Okay. And that normal reaction force is always opposed to some force that is acting in the opposite direction to me. And we are usually equal. Otherwise, there will be, there will be either a movement upwards or there will be a movement downwards. So since the road was a rigid, hard surface, there was no acceleration in either direction. Have I answered all your questions?
Yeah, I have another thing to say. See, support force. In this case, it's an inclined plane, right? So the opposite force, the force opposing you, is not going to point there. It's going to point downwards because it's the weight, which is gravity is also there, so it's going to point downwards. There's a difference here, isn't it?
Yes, but you have to ask that to gravity because what I can tell you is that yes, there was gravity, as gravity is always there, and I think what you're saying is correct, that the force of gravity acts towards the center of the earth, which will end up making it parallel to the ground, sorry, perpendicular to the ground. But mind you, I was not responding in the direction opposite to gravity, right? Because that would be absurd. Because in that sense, gravity would act in this direction, and then I would have to act in this direction opposite to that, but that's not the direction in which I was acting. That I'm sure about.
So are you sure that
What are you trying to say here?
I'm trying to say that I was doing what I was supposed to do. I act in a direction which is perpendicular to the surface of contact between those two objects. So it was like this, because that is 90 degrees to that surface. And in response to the question about my magnitude, how much my strength was in terms of newtons, I don't know the exact values, but what I can say is that there will be a force acting opposite to me, which is how I showed with the what color is that? Lilac colored arrow. Okay. And what that force is, or who that force is, or how much that force was, I do not know. But that force has to be there. So is that satisfactory? Have I answered all your questions?
Yes,
Are you suspecting me to have anything to do with the murder? In the sense, are you saying that I am the one who has done the murder?
You don't need
can't really tell you now. We have to interrogate more with
Thank you.
other
Bye.
suspects. Then
that's none of
let
your
you know.
leave
Okay.
now.
Okay, because I'd just like to make the statement that if you are thinking that I'm the one who did the murder, that's foolish, because the force that caused this to happen was acting in this direction.
Every suspect says that.
And obviously I am acting in this direction. Okay, so how can
Yeah.
something accelerate in this direction when it is acting in a direction perpendicular to that? If
We'll
anything,
see.
I was probably preventing the whole thing from happening.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll see
I would
about
like to
that.
agree with you.
We'll see
We'll
about
We'll
that.
let you know
Thank
when
you,
we
you can leave
find
now.
the. So
Okay.
you can leave now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Seems like a very
Yeah.
confused investigating team.
We're
All
not
right.
confused. Stop making assumptions.
Okay, I'm gone.
God.
Support force is gone.
Okay, so basically,
Okay, so wait, now back over here. So we just seem to have come up with more questions than we set out to ask. But anyway, at least we know some things for sure now. Support force probably was not involved because it's true what support force was saying, that if it is
Yeah,
acting in a
100%
direction
true.
perpendicular to the direction in which acceleration took place, then that could not have been, he or she could not have caused that to happen.
But
Now,
I think you already knew about this from before.
yeah, we knew about this, but we don't. But we were also told about it clearly by support force. Now
Good
the thing
question.
is that we have one more suspect now, which needs to be investigated, which is that force which was acting opposite to the direction of the support force. So now that has also become an unknown. Okay, so there is an unknown force which was acting in the direction down the inclined plane. This
Wasn't it gravity?
okay,
isn't it weight?
no, we don't know about that. Okay, and then there was this force, which is also not obviously gravity because it's not acting in the direction that gravity normally acts, which is in this direction. Okay, so we have some questions, we have a little bit of direction, but we have ended up with one more suspect,
See,
one
yeah.
more unknown.
So I have learned a little bit more.
Wait. That's all we have time for today. So we'll have to stop our investigation at this point of time and proceed for our lunch.
We have to pause it.
But when we meet tomorrow, you people better be sharper than this because we've just managed to
To a
interview
principal.
one of the persons who were there in the
Sir,
suspect.
we're rookies.
Doesn't matter. You have to pull up your socks and get your act together. So meet you in the
Yes,
next
sir.
class. All those who would like to leave can leave. Those who would like to stay back, you can stay back for a little bit more of a discussion.